Hey y'all, it's me, Chronic, and the focus is on Chronic. Compassionista is here. Hi, sweetie pie. Her mom comes home today. Oh, joy. The only good thing is that because, well, part of it is my pain. I'm waking up at 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock every morning. And part of it is the pain, a big part of it's the pain, but also Lilybell has been sleeping with me, or she comes in from her mom's room when she hears the slightest movement. Love you, Lilybell. And she wants to get looked up. And I am in so much pain that I just can't do it. Why is this coming up? Stop. Just have to laugh. The song I chose today as the episode title pretty much sums up how I've been feeling. It's a great film, Coen Brothers. I haven't watched every Coen Brothers films because some are just a little too violent for me, but Oh Brother, Where Art Thou is pretty good. I guess it's based on the Odyssey, right? And some excellent performances. And the soundtrack is fabulous, and that's where this song comes from. And I don't know if I heard it and thought, man, I can relate to that, especially right now. Or I thought of it as I was thinking, God, I just don't want to dog. I just don't want to be here anymore. I just listened to it again a couple times, and it's Gillian Welsh, I think it's Welsh, and Alison Krauss, both beautiful singers, folksy, uh, almost like Appalachian kind of sounding, and I mean that in the best possible sense. There's a woman I saw on Instagram who was like, listen, Appalachia isn't what J.D. Vance wants you to think it is. Sure, there are issues that go on here, but there is a very progressive part uh, of Appalachia, you know, who are not racist, who do not like or vote for Trump or Republicans, and we're not xenophobic, and we're not this, and we're not that. But the movies tell us Appalachia is all about, and J.D. Vance too. Gag me. Ugh, he really disturbs me. They all disturb me. Um, anyway, I don't really want to get into politics that much, but I got a call the day before my first chemo, which was supposed to be last Thursday, saying that there's a delay with prior authorization from my health insurance company. And I actually picked up the phone because at least they say who it is when the phone rings. And I hate to say the word spontaneous because I know there are people having spontaneous diarrhea from this bacteria or whatever it is that's in food that I'm not at all surprised about because the EPA and fucking JFK Jr. or RFK Jr. have they've lost their fucking marbles. And they want forever chemicals. And anyway, if you watch the news at all or listen to the news at all, or read the news, you know about what I'm speaking. Fortunately, and this is a good tip, buy as much of your fruits and produce frozen. And then, of course, if you can't, wash it thoroughly. But that's still not a guarantee. And I think it's Taylor Farms that's the culprit behind this. And they've had many, 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 many violations before. But of course, they're huge Trump supporters. I think I'm getting it right, or else I'm mixing it up with the no. Because Driscoll is another one. If you buy, that's why. Anyway, so I buy because I just shop for myself. I buy frozen fruit and mostly frozen vegetables. First of all, because my hands, I have a hard time doing anything with them, much less like cutting them up and prepping them. So I've had to do it a couple times. I do it every so often when something is out of stock at Trader Joe's. But first of all, the fruit is frozen at its ripest, so it doesn't lose the nutrients. Fresh fruit, by the time it's driven from California or wherever the fuck it comes from, to you, it's already lost. And they've done studies now where they've shown that our food has less nutrients in it than ever. And it's because we've monocropped the fuck out of this country and we've just raped the soil of nutrients because we're just using it to grow monocrops to feed the animals that we eat instead of just not eating the animals and having a biodiverse crop yield, different. Anyway, I talked about this. So I have yet to encounter, thank goodness, though a friend of mine at work said she had explosive diarrhea, and she had some lettuce, and I've heard it a lot. But if you buy fresh, like lettuce heads or anything like that, take the outer leaves off, clean the rest, and cook it to a certain degree, temperature. But I have been a big proponent of buying frozen fruits and vegetables because, except for potatoes too, because Trader Joe's has them great. They're already cut up. They have onions and red peppers in them, and they're seasoned. They have a little bit of oil in them, but my hands are just so. My wrist today. Ugh. Anyway, so I got the call saying my first chemo had been postponed because of our fucking health insurance industry in the United States. And I just, not spontaneously diarrheaed, but I spontaneously sobbed and sobbed and sobbed on the phone to this poor woman who had to make a call to me. I was suicidal, and I wrote my therapist and told her, so she was aware. I said, I'm not going to do anything, I'm just telling you that. And I hadn't heard from her because it usually takes 3 days for them to. I think by the time I wrote her, it was like Friday, and so she probably won't even have read it, or if she does, it'll be right before she sees me tomorrow. And thank goodness I get to see her tomorrow. I was not happy. And all this poor woman could say was, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And I said, I can't live like this. This is no life. I can't. As I'm sobbing, oh my God, I was a wreck. I was just a wreck. And I continued sobbing afterwards. I'm taking 3,200 milligrams. It's so funny. The directions on it say take 1 every 6 hours. I'm taking 2, and they're 600 milligrams each. So I'm taking 6 a day at least. And I found a non-finished prescription vial of methotrexate. So I've taken 2 weeks worth of the highest dose of methotrexate to try to alleviate some of this excruciating pain before now my fingers crossed chemo is on Tuesday, which means I lose more pay. I know it's going to be okay. I know it's going to be okay. I know I'm going to make rent. I know I'm going to make rent. It's just, if I get a call tomorrow saying they delayed it, if you hear that someone has overdosed in New York City, it's probably me. Seriously, I can't take this anymore. I'm not sleeping. I have no desire to do anything. My depression is like heart of darkness deep. It's just, so I have made myself read. I'm in the last chapter of Frankenstein, and of course it's the most, like appalling chapter. But you kind of know what's going to happen, and I did read. It's funny, they put after the story, after the book, they put ways to read Frankenstein. You can read it, feminists from feminist, from different angles, and that really made a lot of sense to me because I was getting, but a lot of it was like head versus heart, and all the hearts were the women or the men who were really in touch with like their feminine side and wanted to know more about the soft sciences as opposed to the heads like Frankenstein, who was really interested in the hard sciences and was actually proud of being able to create another being. But that other being didn't want to be. And anyway, I highly recommend the book. I'll probably never see the film. If I do, I'll see like a young, an older version. But and then I have one called Ex-Wife that I need to see because it's overdue. That I need to start reading. I have so many books. Anyway, so I have been the last couple of nights making myself read at least a chapter. And once I get a chapter, the chapters are relatively small. The last chapter is the longest. My neck hurts so bad. Well, it's not really my neck, but remember how it was like this? And now it's up to my shoulders, excuse me. So doing anything. I had my hair in like a low bun, and I decided to put it down. Just putting my hair up in a low bun, excruciating pain. Brushing my teeth, I can barely hold the toothbrush. Dressing, undressing, opening Millie Bell's dinner little dish. I have to use a knife to cut it open. I had to use a knife to open up my creamer. And I have cut myself in the past because it slipped, because my grip is shit. But, let's see. Anyways, and I've got scars galore from my CEO, Lily Bell, because she's just so warning. I can't even, my arms hurt and my hands and wrists. It's, you know how they have those period pain machines that they put on men that mimic severe period pain, and men like fall on the ground and doubled over in pain. Now women go to work and do all sorts of shit, even with period pain. These men are like rolling, wreathing, writhing on the ground in pain, which just shows you that women are the stronger sex. And I dare anyone to define me. I mean, I'm talking about evolutionary wise. We are so much more evolved than men. Men still just think about sex and sports. It's all about the dick. And they want to marry their mommies, and they want someone to take care of them. Anyway, I'm getting off subject, but I have been, I've had a lot of time to like think, because I've been home because I can't function. I just can't function. I made myself go to Trader Joe's this morning, and I picked up, because I didn't think about it, it's like this infusion, and I'm going to cross everything I can possibly cross to make sure that it's not, that it actually happens on Tuesday. I'm sure it's so bad. Anyway, everybody does, but I actually sang yesterday while I was, because I made myself do a 30-minute walk around the apartment listening to music, and I was singing along to some of the music, and my throat was just killing me last night. Not like a sore throat, but like the muscles of my throat. I wish they had a simulation machine, so that, because I wouldn't wish this disease on my worst enemy, but I wish they had a simulation machine so someone could wear it for 24 hours and know what 9-10 RA pain is on a scale. I'm at the 9-10 stage. I'm about this close to just giving up. And that's why I picked this song, because even though I'm not a person of faith, I find like gospel music and folk music like that, you know, even if I don't like believe in a heaven or whatever, I find it very moving, that people have faith that better days are coming. I am too much of a pessimist and have PTSD and I've lived through so much, as we all have, as lots of us have. I'm like, if there's a God, and I don't believe there is, but if there is one, I'm having, he's got a lot to answer for to allow this much suffering in this world. He's omnipotent, and I love how it's always he. But it would be a man who would be omnipotent, but then allow all this. And people are like, free will. I'm just fucking tired of religion. If I offend anyone, sorry. Religion belongs in politics as much as it belongs. It's just, anyway, it's ruining our country. Religion has killed millions and millions upon millions of people, innocent people, all in the name of God or Allah or Muhammad or whoever. Anyway, I didn't mean to get off on that tangent, but let's see. Anyway, so that's why I picked that song, because it's about the prettiest song about wanting to die and just fly away. And just, I was thinking also about the Undying Land music from Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, too. But I chose this one. Anyway, I'll put the link, I'll put it down below. It's Gillian, Welsh, and Alison Krauss. And the soundtrack is wonderful, but there's also, I don't know how but I found this album by Alison Krauss called, and I wrote it down, Now That I Found You, a collection. And it's wonderful, so I will link it down below, or link it down below too, in case you're interested. She just has an angelic voice. And she's also worked with other she's incredible, and other, I know she's done albums with Robert Plant, and the list goes on, I'm sure. But I just really remember her doing work with Robert Plant. And I can see that. Okay. What did I write? Oh, rising upper body pain. But then I wrote good things. And this is like this is like a good and bad. The roommate / landlady comes home today. And at least it'll take. First of all, I've been doing the trash for 16 days, and this is her month for doing trash. And considering my pain, I should get an award for that. I should get compensated for that. But, except for doing, I'll do Lily's litter box. Because I have lived in a home where the litter box did not get cleaned nearly as often as they should have been, and I never want to see that or have a cat or anyone experience that. So, and I also found out, though I was pretty sure it was illegal, that this lease that she made with me is illegal. You cannot force a tenant to leave the premises for a certain period of time. They call it like a partial eviction. So I'm calling the New York City Tenants Hotline to find out more. And we can do this in a pleasant way. But I'm going to talk to them first before I bring anything up with her. And also, having your tenant pay more than you of the monthly rent is also illegal. Because she's not just the landlady, she's a roommate. And, I remember my therapist saying, if you looked at the original lease, you're probably paying the majority of the rent, and that's illegal. She can't charge. It's illegal for her to charge me more than she pays for rent. She doesn't own this place. So that made me feel a little better knowing that, and I figured that what she was doing was illegal, but I've just been in so much pain and so much shit's been going on that I just haven't had time to. But I decided to look it up today, and it in fact is illegal to do. And we can do this in a pleasant way, or we can do it in an arbitrary way at this point. I've also decided the hot and cold people in my life, the people, and she is one of them, who, and I know she's trying to have boundaries being a landlady versus being a roommate or whatever, but I'm over it. I'm so over it. I have a friend at work, and she runs this way, and I know it's because of trauma. I looked up hot cold behavior, and they link it to where you're really warm to someone, and then you turn on them, like my roommate / landlady has done to me. It's out of nowhere, and it's usually their insecurities that they're reflecting onto you. And it's linked to borderline personality disorder. And not that I'm a psychiatrist, but I will bring it up with my psychiatrist tomorrow, with my therapist tomorrow. And because hell, she read the lease. She's like, this is not legal, But once I get a chemotherapy session in me, which is going to happen, it's going to happen on Tuesday. It's going to happen on Tuesday. Everyone chant that for me, please. because I really can't. Picking up every grocery to put in my cart was excruciating. Even the methotrexate isn't helping. And I have to remind myself to tell my rheumatologist tomorrow that I have taken 2 weekly doses of methotrexate before this, hopefully now, first chemo on Tuesday, because we give you methotrexate intravenously and other things, steroids and stuff like that, to try to calm it. Oh, but I did buy some bland, not bland, but some things to try to settle my stomach in case I have any nausea. And just goes to show you can't trust AI. And I really try to, like, when you put in a question, you Google something, AI comes up immediately, and I usually just bypass it because I don't want to support that in any way, shape, or form. But as I was moving the screen to get to, like, non-IA stuff, it I read it somewhere that they're like, yes, Trader Joe's ginger chews have been discontinued. And I was like, oh, guess what? They have not been discontinued. Don't believe everything you read. Because I looked when I was there. I'm like, I'm like, I don't know if that's true or not. I'll just double check. I'm there, so I'm going to check. And lo and behold, they had ginger chews. And so I got a little bag of ginger chews, and I got a banana almond smoothie, and I got 2 yogurts, non-dairy, of course, cashew milk yogurts. I got 1 in strawberry and 1 in vanilla, because I didn't want to go too crazy. But hopefully that will carry me through the 6 hours. And I'll eat breakfast before I go. Oatmeal, which is, it's crazy, but I really think that you burn calories more when you're in pain, because your body is, like, constantly, my immune system is constantly attacking my body, and so I'm constantly hungry, and yet I'm losing weight. Well, that's also because I just don't have the energy to make stuff. I got myself 2 kimbaps. They're really good. They're vegan and gluten-free at Trader Joe's. And I had one today. And I got one for Tuesday after my treatment, because I thought that might be all I can handle. But if I can, I'm going to try to prep, because I work tomorrow after therapy. And I'm going to work. And I have extra time, so I'm going to call that New York City Tenants hotline. I know 311. It's going to take some time to get to somebody, but I want to know, because I haven't heard from this lawyer through. And I mean, it's a wonderful service. It's just, I'm sure they're completely understaffed and inundated with people calling them being ripped off or taken advantage of or whatever. So I'll keep you updated as to that. Another great thing is great progress on banning horse carriages in New York City. I wish I could have gone to City Hall and spoken, but I wrote my legislators. Unfortunately, my legislators backed this from the beginning, this ban, and it just tells you the power of unions can be bad too. Like my union, our president does shit for us. But the president, and I can't remember his name, the head of the horse drivers union or whatever, has been, they just want to regulate. Well, the regulations aren't working. Horses are still dying. Humans are dying. It just, Oh, and Edie Falco. Thank you, Edie Falco. I mean, thank you to everyone. Voters for Animal Rights showed up. Equine advocates, my calendar. The head of Equine Advocates showed up. A lot of wonderful people. But I had no idea Edie Falco was such an animal advocate. And she gave a really good speech to the city council. And so we've got all the numbers. It just needs to pass two more things. But I understand that the drivers need alternate employment, but they can drive these electric carriages for the same amount of money that they're making, or whatever. You can get electric carriages. Cities who have, in cities around the world, Philadelphia, and then around the world too, have ditched this archaic, dangerous, inhumane, unethical practice, outdated practice. Yeah, I know we're living through another Gilded Age, but we don't need horse and buggies anymore, especially in the city with all these fucking cars. Please read Life After Cars and please support it. Anyway, so I was very pleased about that because though I couldn't be there, my face just always looks like it's in pain because I'm always in pain. And but I did write and call legislators, but fortunately, two of my legislators were already backers. I'm very fortunate. We're already backing this ban, as did our mayor. And he's been doing a lot. Anyway, so the progress has been, this is as far as it's ever gotten. And this has been going on for 40 years. People have been fighting for this ban for 40 years. I didn't know that. Thank you, Edie Falco. And thank you for your rational but impassioned speech. And to everyone who took the time to show up and to speak on behalf of the animals and that young man's family. If this had been banned, none of this would have happened. We just never learn. And I knew there had to be some nasty person in the union who was delaying this. I was right. Can't remember his name, but fuck you. Especially when there are ways to find them other employment. Like I said, the electric carriages. And I would also love for the mounted police horses to be banned. I've seen some fucking fat, and I'm not fat shaming, but if you're going to be a police officer, you better be able to run after. I don't care if you have a gun that you can shoot at long range. You better be in fucking shape. Shouldn't there be some like requirements about how much you can weigh? There should be no horses at all in New York City. And I had someone at work saying, "Oh, but the mounted police, they take really good care of their horses." I'm like, "Yeah, how do you know?" And I said, "No, they should be banned too. People need to walk like the rest of us." Or bike. How about bike? How about policemen on bikes, which is real exercise, which would keep them fit so they can take care of the residents of all the residents of New York City. There, so. Oh, and I just found out more good news that even though I had to postpone my disability claims appointment, I got email from my student loan provider or whatever the fuck they are, where you're supposed to. Anyway, I got an email saying that all of my loans have been nullified. And that is a very, very good sign, because if you are approved for disability, they wipe out your student loans. And so I'm feeling very, again, trust is a very hard thing for me, but I'm feeling very, I mean, why else would they just suddenly nullify my loans? You know, and say, oh, these have all been paid in full. So I will keep you updated on that. My phone appointment is on Thursday. So we'll see how that goes. And they had a HIPAA form so they could look up stuff. I sent them tons of stuff, more than I ever have. And this could lead to a much better life for me. First of all, I would get, within like 30 or 60 days, I'd get 12 months of back pay, disability back pay. I could pay off my credit card, and then I could invest the rest. Save some for like a little vacation fund, and then invest the rest responsibly. And I have something specifically in mind. We'll see. I'll keep you posted. Something responsible and something ethical, and it's something that would free me from having to work part-time, because part-time is going to be hard for me. And I can also buy in, at least have a chance to buy into Medicaid, so I wouldn't need, because working part-time, I think you get some benefits, but not the ones I had at full-time. Great, considering the fact that I was sobbing on the phone to the doctor's office because they delayed and this is what just gets me. You know, I read about my health insurance plan, and they say it's for people who have no health problems. Well, let me tell you something. 70% of Americans live with chronic illness. That's a vast majority. We all have health problems. Young people today, teenagers today, already have plaque in their arteries, on their arteries. So they're already in the beginning stages of heart disease. Teenagers. This is why, like, people are like, oh, and today is the anniversary of my dad's death. I'm glad. I'm glad he's no longer here. And if I had any role to play in that precancerous cell from to metastasize into pancreatic cancer, so much better. I'm cutting it out of my life. But yeah, if you're a hot and cold person, and it's a sign of, it's not a good sign. It's a big red flag. And I live with one currently, and I'm hoping that once I get approved, because I think I'm going to get approved for Social Security this time, given the fact that all of my student loans have been paid for in full or nullified. I had to take a picture of it with my phone because I was like, what? And it just, I don't feel a lot of joy, and that made me feel joy momentarily. But I was just telling my therapist a couple weeks ago, you know, all this was going to happen, and when I thought I was going to have my first chemo on Thursday, and Social Security talk this week, and but I said, you know, even with like CPTSD, or because of CPTSD, even good news, good stress can cause depression. And it did with me. Once I kind of came down off that cloud, that high of, oh my God, things might be, good things may be happening to me. I fell into a really, and I'm struggling still with a really deep depression because, and I was right, because I just can't trust that good things are going to turn out for me. And I was right in this situation. This delay, 5 more days. That poor person had to make the call. She had no idea she was going to deal with the sobbing, suicidal woman on the phone. I've talked to my, I emailed my therapist or messaged her, so she knows. And I told Leslie, and she knows. And she's like, try to go to work, but I just can't. So that's why I'm worried about this paycheck. But in my back pocket, especially if I get a chance to talk to New York City Tenant Helpline, I'll have in my back pocket this information about this fucking lease that she has demanded. She goes, look it over for a week. So if I don't sign it in a week, what does that mean? I have to leave. That is not Christian. And she calls herself a Christian. But a lot of Christians behave that way, like assholes, like our whole administration, who call themselves Christians. And it's across the board. Anyway, so that made me very happy. About the chemo food. Oh, I took a picture of myself. Remember in my last video, I showed you my bikini for Greece. And as of right now, I still have the money in my account for Greece. It's going to be close. But I took a picture of myself wearing my hat with my bikini, and I posted it on my IG stories. And my younger friends were like, woo woo, and they liked it. And then I thought, why don't I send the link to my ex-husband? Now, he doesn't have to know, unless from looking at my IG, he sees that I have a blog here on YouTube and has begun watching it, or has watched some of it, or whatever. He doesn't know about all the trials and tribulations that I've gone through, but it could be a little pettiness on my part. But I just wanted him to, and I know it's one of those things. I just wanted him to see that despite all of those trials and tribulations, and these are major trials and tribulations that I have suffered since our divorce, that I remain focused on taking care of myself and treating my body and my mind the best way possible. And it showed in that photo. I looked good. Like Samantha Jones, I'm 50 fucking 6, and I rocked this bikini. And I think I did. And he looked. It's so funny because the picture, I had no idea he was on IG. And I'm not looking at his IG page because I don't want to know. But he looked. And I know he looked because his profile photo is the only photo I have of the first cat I shared with him. He had already adopted Sable, and I of course fell in love with her when we started dating. And it's the same picture. That's the only photograph I have of her, and I thought that was interesting. Anyway, so he saw it, And maybe it was a little petty on my part, but I just wanted to see, because anyway, I've discussed this before, but I just wanted to show everyone, because uh, there's no dress code for people of my age. Wear whatever the fuck you want. And I wanted to wear bikini degrees, and so I'm wearing one. Just have to get there now. Now I'm scared about all the flights and making them, and my passport, and blah 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 blah, and changing dollars into pounds, and having dollars to change into pounds, so I have, I can tip the staff and what have you, just to have a little extra money around, just in case, a little cash, just in case. Now my feet are hurting. My body's like a RA pinball machine. You just never know where it's going to show up. Now it's the top of my right foot. Anyway, so yeah. Well, because, as I said, remember I inadvertently got an email that his cousin, a condolence email from his cousin. And so I sent it along with my condolences, which was just saying, I inadvertently got this email too. I'm sorry for your loss. And then he wrote back, thank you so much for sending the email, and hope you are doing well. So I sent him an email back with the link, the IG link of me and my bikini, and I said in the subject section, and I said, Ari, I'm doing well with a peace sign. At least physically on the outside, I look pretty damn good. For any age, I think. It's just, I'm in constant pain. But everybody keep your fingers crossed that this is not to get delayed again. You may never see me again. I have to laugh about it. You have to. I found some female, because we know no straight male will go to therapy unless a gun is pointed at his head. We all know this. It's just true. Gay men, not gay men. Gay men have even said it too. Well, they're more in touch with their feminine side. But straight men will do anything but go to therapy. I'd say the vast majority will do anything. There's some good ones out there, but I don't tend to attract those. Anyway, I am now going to. I gotta eat something. Maybe I'll have that second kimbap, because I'm just not in the mood for making anything right now. And then I can, after I've filled my tummy with that, I'll have the energy to prep my lunches for the next few days. I'm going to do pasta with lentils and greens, which I already have. Frozen spinach. Keep the spontaneous diarrhea away. This country, man. God damn. Anyway, I'll link all that shit below. I'll keep you posted as to. I'm going to have them take a picture as proof that I am in the infusion room getting my infusion. And they do have blankets. I'm going to bring my socks with me, so I can take my shoes off and put my thick socks on. And I'm going to have my earbuds all. And either bring a book or read a book on my phone, and probably rest. It's going to take a lot out of me. Anyway, what else am I going to do today? Oh, I thought I might watch Ladies in Lavender. I may have seen that before, but I'm not quite sure. but I saw like a clip of it, and it's Maggie Smith, the late beloved Maggie, Dame Maggie, and Dame Judi Dench. And how can I resist that? And I want a gentle woman, female-led cast from two of the greatest actors that I've known of in my lifetime. And so I think I'll watch that. And here we are at 50. So I will bid you all adieu. I'm amazed I can laugh. Maybe I just completely gone off the deep end. Yeah. Wish me luck. I'll keep you posted. If you see a picture of me with IVs in me on a comfy recliner with a blanket, sipping a banana almond smoothie or having some yogurt, you know that I'm in my first chemo session. Ow, that hurt. I love you all. I wish you peace. Be kind to each other. I know I was a little petty sending that bikini photo, but you know what? I don't regret it. Not in the least. Live life, said the suicidal woman. And check out those albums. I'm sure most people have seen it, but the album of Oh Brother Where Art Thou is very good, and so is the Alison Krauss album. And check her out with some of her albums with Robert Plant. She's got tons of stuff. She may even work with like the Nitty Gritty Band. I heard a great song with the Nitty Gritty Band and Linda Ronstadt, another fabulous singer. Anyway, I'm going on and on. I've got my finger poised. So love one another of all species, and be safe, and see you next time. I hope.